Why hello there and welcome to the Video Dungeon, the series where I take a look at the films best left forgotten, and in this exciting first episode I will be presenting Dr. Bloodbath, a film produced in 1987 and released at some point after that. I honestly cannot find any verifiable information about when this movie actually came out. So let's take a look at Dr. Bloodbath. Oh, and I probably should mention that the plot of this film does revolve around the topic of abortion, and not in a tactful way, so that's something you might want to consider. Dr. Bloodbath begins with a title card that says Butherknife. Okay, so as I understand it, based on my research, the title of this film is Butherknife, but the copyright was registered under the title Dr. Bloodbath, with Butherknife listed as the title as it appears in the film, and I'm pretty sure that means that legally this film is Dr. Bloodbath. Then some opening credits that are actually quite professional looking, because they were just taken directly from 1975's Criminally Insane. The actual movie opens with Dr. Roger Bloodbath Thorne, played by Albert Eskenazi, paying a visit to an unnamed patient because...
You said on the phone there was something wrong with my test?
Yes. Are you alone?
Yes, the least creepy and not at all alarming question that you could ever ask someone. They sit down and, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and let the movie cover the next part.
I didn't know you made any tests.
Of course we do. We do more than just perform an abortion.
I don't understand any of this.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one. Dr. Thorne prepares a vitamin injection, which apparently means an empty syringe with no needle. Fortunately, he is able to find a working syringe in 1975's Criminally Insane. But it seems that injection was just a big old shot of vitamin sedative, and Dr. Thorne takes his victim up the stairs and into the bloodbath tub. Then walks back downstairs to get his Butherknife, and back upstairs for a scene so grisly and horrific that it must be seen to be believed. Then a completely unexplained scene of Dr. Thorne remarking on the importance of being dedicated to the patient's health and well-being. I feel like this scene is trying to make a point, but it is just completely pointless. Much like the entirety of this movie. Dr. Thorne then returns home to what is clearly a completely different house from the one in the previous scene to enjoy some angsty couch sitting. And it's here that we are introduced to Dr. Thorne's wife, who I'm pretty sure is named Claire, and is on her way to the Garden Club award banquet. But before she goes, she stops to tell Juanita to fix Dr. Thorne's dinner. Because we just need to establish that Juanita is a character who exists for later. We are then introduced to Lieutenant Chandler, who is investigating what I can only assume they have dubbed the Butherknife Bloodbath Murder, with this guy from another movie. Then back to Claire on her way to what I'm beginning to suspect may not actually be the Garden Club award banquet.
I'm giving a award tonight, but not for gardening.
And we are treated to what may very well be one of the most sensual scenes ever committed to video. Then to
Thorne Pregnancy Counseling Center,
where Dr. Thorne asks for
The files of all the women that we performed abortions on in the last month.
But before we go where this is obviously going, we check back in at the house to once again remind the audience that Juanita exists. Yep, there she is. And back to Dr. Thorne for another game of
Test?
Are you alone?
But this time he skips most of the foreplay and just gets straight to the murdering. Then some B-plot, and back to the stock film force, and Lieutenant Chandler, who is confident that this latest victim is the work of the same killer, despite no actual evidence that that is the case. And back to Dr. Thorne's office, where he is having a consultation with a woman who is, of course, there about an abortion, because that's just kind of this movie's whole thing. And I bet you're just dying to see how this movie depicts an abortion. Well, here it is. Bowl of water, turkey baster, intense stare, in and out, and repeat. And of course we the audience need to understand the inner turmoil of Dr. Thorne during this procedure, which apparently looks like this. Back in his office, Dr. Thorne phones a patient about, of course, test results, and she agrees to meet with him. And it's off to another formulaic murder scene, but with some interesting notes this time. First, it seems like Eskenazi and the actress who played the victim are not actually in the same location. And then there's this. Which, as far as I can tell, is the only piece of intentional audio editing in the entire movie. And if I had to guess, I would say the scene was probably shot after the rest of the movie, just to add in another body and a few minutes of runtime. And then it's back to this subplot, where Claire gives her Polish poet paramour the news that she is pregnant and wants to get married and raise the child together. But he's like, nah, and she's like,
Dirty, rotten, no good Polak.
Then a few minutes of filler, and oh, this lady's still alive, so I guess that needs to be remedied. Honestly, it's just the same damn scene for the 4th time. And then, back at home, Claire informs Dr. Thorne of the pregnancy and that,
I want you to kill the little bastard before he gets any bigger.
But before that, we check back in with Lieutenant Chandler, who believes the hammer victim is the work of the same killer as the previous 2 victims, supporting my theory that the 3rd killing was added later. But he says he has no leads. Because all of the victims having had the same medical procedure performed by the same doctor, presumably within a fairly recent time frame, that's not a lead, that's not suspicious at all. Anyway, now we're back in the operating room, and don't worry, I'm not going to make you watch this whole situation again. Well, maybe just a little. After that, we are subjected to 4 more minutes of pointless filler, and then in the next morning, Dr. Thorne getting up and going downstairs to get himself some orange juice. And of course, his trusty butcher knife. And then, of course, he murders Claire, because that's how this movie goes. We all saw that one coming. But then he hears Juanita downstairs. You remember Juanita, a character in this movie whose existence and presence in the house has been thoroughly established. And he stabs her so hard that she falls into another movie. Then he just kind of calls the police and turns himself in, because I guess endings are hard. And then we end with a clip from Criminally Insane, and shots of Dr. Thorne looking sad with some clips from earlier in this movie, and just 2 minutes of this one shot from Criminally Insane 2, which is obviously shot on the same couch in the location that was being used for Dr. Thorne's home. Are we not supposed to notice that? It's incredibly obvious. But then, the movie mercifully ends. And that was Dr. Bloodbath, or Butherknife, a movie, more or less. And if you've made it this far, then you are probably thinking,
I didn't understand any of this.
And let me assure you that is a perfectly normal reaction, so let's review. Dr. Bloodbath is about a doctor who performs abortions and then goes to the patient's home under the pretext of discussing test results and murders them. The question, though, is why? Like, what is this movie trying to say? And the obvious interpretation here is that Dr. Bloodbath is some kind of anti-abortion horror movie. They don't really provide much insight into Dr. Thorne's motivation aside from the following.
Murderer!
Can you tell me what this is about?
It's about something very evil.
There's never any kind of inciting incident or wrap-up to explain what was going on. It's just a series of events, and we, the audience, are left to interpret them to the best of our abilities. Whenever the topic is actually discussed, the female characters do tend to respond like some kind of horrid caricature of degenerate modern women.
I want to have the abortion.
You've considered the alternatives?
Yes, but this is the easiest way.
I want you to kill the little bastard before he gets any bigger.
Of course, if Dr. Thorne is supposed to be killing women for having abortions, then it seems a little odd that he is also performing them, unless we're supposed to see Dr. Thorne as some kind of victim of a modern society that's turned him into this baby-killing monster, and with his last shred of decency he is compelled to avenge the acts that he has been forced to perform. Or it could be that I am putting considerably more thought into analyzing the themes of this movie than was actually put into writing it in the first place. Probably that one. Because honestly, the story is so bad and unclear that it almost distracts from just how poorly made the rest of the movie is. Every aspect of this film is just bad. The writing, the acting, the cinematography, the editing, the lighting, the sound design, and honestly, I'm being a bit generous here by suggesting that there was intentional lighting and sound design in this production. Honestly, if you had told me that this entire movie was made in a single weekend with no script, not only would I believe you, but it would just make the entire existence of this movie a lot easier to comprehend. And normally I would feel kind of bad about so mercilessly tearing down someone's hard work, but this isn't anyone's hard work. Nobody involved in this movie was giving it their all. Like, maybe a few of the minor actors, but I refuse to believe that anyone could be so conceited and oblivious that they would look at this movie and say, yes, this thing I've made is a fine film, a legitimate piece of media that has artistic and or monetary value. Because Dr. Bloodbath is not that. It is basically a scam. It is about an hour's worth of moving pictures and occasional sounds that vaguely resemble a narrative. It is something that seems enough like a movie that some unfortunate souls may be tricked into handing over actual money for it. And while I will accept a bad movie, I will not tolerate a deceptive one. And deceptive is what Dr. Bloodbath is. It literally has the opening credits from a different movie to make it look like it has a full cast and crew that it does not have. Also, like, half the film is padding. Just, for example, changes in location are often accompanied by these painfully long shots of Dr. Thorne driving and getting out of his car and walking from his car to the door. And I didn't actually catch this one until I was editing this video, but they literally use the same footage of Dr. Thorne returning home 4 different times. Although the strangest and most notable thing is the repeated use of clips from other movies, because they're all just really obvious. Like, they don't even try to match the shots here, even when they're in the same location. However, it is important to note that all of these clips are from other Nick Millard films, so he's just recycling, and Captain Planet would like that. And that is all of the time that I'm willing to invest into talking about Dr. Bloodbath, or Butherknife. So, thank you for watching, and if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to hit all of the lovely buttons, and let me know what you think in the comments. This is my first movie review, so I would really like to hear what you like, what you don't, what's working, you know, that kind of stuff. Well, until next time.